Three, 2, 1. Welcome to Credit Zero.
Welcome to Credit Zero, everybody.
Yeah, welcome to half of Credit Zero.
Yeah.
Well, wait, what's half of zero?
Zero.
Zero?
Zero.
Welcome to Credit Zero, everybody. We're still Credit Zero.
Yeah.
So we got some fun situations going on here, much different than last episode of this podcast.
Yeah, we'll preface this, describe your surroundings right now, Drew.
Right now? Okay, well, we're in a parking lot. There is a train track to the right. Hopefully that won't cause any problems in the future.
We're in a car, though.
Yeah, we're in a car.
Yeah, like a drug deal.
Yeah, we pulled off to the side of the road, got in a parking lot, and haven't gotten out for like half an hour. Hopefully no bylaw officers roll by and start asking any questions.
That's good content.
Yeah, if the podcast randomly jumps for a little bit, that's probably what happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're in the middle of, I guess, Uptown Waterloo.
Yeah.
By the park. And we're just going to record this podcast because it's basically the safest way to do it at this point.
Yeah. So, Paul and Daryl are someplace else, and they'll be coming up later on the episode, but for now it's just Drew and I because of some health problems that I had. I'm now on a medication that is immunocompromised, and we are still in lockdown. So it's really not safe for me to gather in a group for a podcast. Like, hence the last time we did it over Discord. And but we decided that we're going to just do like a two-parter with the pair of us. And Drew and I, through circumstances, already see each other a lot. So if he's sick, I'm already dead.
Guess what, motherfucker? Change of plans. We realized while listening to the first half that it would be kind of jarring going from like possibly... Daryl and I discussed this before. Daryl's here too.
Hey.
The two most sense-making people in our podcast back to like the two biggest harbingers of chaos in the team.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone over this before. I am kind of like a calm force, but I have... You and I both have like a huge...
I'm not calm.
Much more of a range than they do.
Hey,
these guys that are on the other half of our podcast, they're one-note guys. Okay.
Hey, speaking of things that we've gone over before, how about the fact that Luke isn't the only immunocompromised person in the fucking group? How about that? How about that, Luke?
Yeah, Luke. Yeah, did you forget, like I did?
Yeah, everyone apparently did. I'm immunocompromised too because I had surgery last year and I'm on was on medication. I was on physio too until very recently. Now I don't have to like do exercises or I'll revert back into a gross like form. I did a physical gesture, but no one else can see that because it's a podcast. Fuck you.
Also, if I remember correctly, that was a surgery, that was like the heart surgery where you went and did your black belt like a week later.
Oh yeah, lung surgery, but yeah. I did the surgery and then like 2 weeks later, I was advised against it. Like the entire medical team basically met with me in that one room to like shout no simultaneously. And then I was just like, cool, I won't do it. Pew, just sort of went into, like, sped into Guelph, where it was, and where the black belts were. They were just hanging out there. It was a coincidence. It was
it's
crazy.
kind of like Pokemon Go. You have to, like, travel around, and then you find a bunch of black belts.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like Pokemon. In Pokemon Go, there's not black belts. In Pokemon, there's black belts.
Oh, wow. Okay, all right.
You earned the contemporary points for that one, but you kind of Hillary Clinton'd that. Where you're just like, let's mention Pokemon Go out of nowhere. You remember that, right?
I'm trying to connect with my youthful base.
Nice. Do you remember the Hillary Clinton thing?
Yeah, oh yeah, Pokemon, go to the polls!
Oh, there's one angle that, like, if you zoom in on this one woman's face, she's just horrified when she hears it, and it's like my favorite thing ever. Alright, shall we pass it back to Luke and Drew?
Yeah, of course. How's that train going, assholes?
Talk about how Drew and Luke are the only people that you're seeing in each other's lives. Bye.
Yeah, it's quite sad.
Yeah, if you're listening to this when I'm dead.
Oh no.
I'm dead.
Is this going to play at your funeral?
Yeah, in full.
Oh no. Okay, so we have to make sure to talk about the raunchiest things possible and really embarrass yourself so everybody has a lasting memory of you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. What, we're talking about fucking?
You're talking about fucking? We're talking about fucking?
We're talking about fucking.
Talking about fucking right beside a park. That sounds like a bad idea, though.
Yeah, I'm sure that's illegal.
Yeah, this is really quick. I've fucked in a park before. Should I be worried?
Yeah, I've also done some things in a park, but to be fair, I was not a full-fledged adult yet.
That's fair. Also, we got like the two innocent boys in one room where it's like, oh shit, we shouldn't talk about sex near a park. And then Daryl and I are just awkwardly sitting in my room going like, yeah. Oh yeah, and we didn't address that last time. Yeah, Daryl and I, we're here in my room, not in a fucking public park, because we're brave. We knew that the podcast had to go on. I didn't care that I was immunocompromised. Daryl doesn't care that he has parents.
No, I don't.
We're just ready to go for... Alright, well, I'm sorry. This one was a quick one. I didn't mean to interrupt. Back to you.
Well, we could talk about it.
But yeah, so we're going to be keeping you guys company for the first half of this episode.
Yeah, but then we gotta leave.
We gotta leave, and the second half, Paul and Daryl are going to take over for us.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can hold their own. I don't know. They're going to have to meet up and get their shit together, but...
Yeah. Have you been doing a lot of like exploring while in quarantine, or you just been like hunkering down in your house?
Actually, I recently moved to Galt in Cambridge.
Okay.
And I've been taking like walks every once in a while, but I started going on more walks because of quarantine, because like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And I found out that there's actually like a really big trail right beside the river near where I live.
Yeah.
And there's like, I don't know what kind of rock it is, if it's shale, but it's definitely like some sort of sedimentary rock that like is in like slates almost.
Yeah.
And it makes this cliff that goes down by the river, and you can actually like climb down and walk beside the water, like climb down the cliff and walk beside the water. Mm-hmm. And it's such a beautiful view to be like the flat river and a golf course on one side, and then just a rock wall on the other.
That's cool.
So I found that recently, and I've been going on that a couple times.
Huh.
Julie and I actually went on it recently, and we saw a beaver.
Wow.
Yeah, we named him Fudge. We weren't really sure he was a beaver because he was really small, but then he started eating a tree, so...
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious at that point.
Not a lot of things eat trees.
No, basically like beavers and pandas.
Woodpeckers, too?
Woodpecker. Yeah, but do they eat the tree?
No, they don't. They eat the bugs in the tree.
Yeah, they eat the tree like a jackhammer eats the cement.
Yeah, well put. Well put.
So what about you? Have you been able to get out of the house recently?
Yeah, a little bit. I actually like... Yeah, I'm a person that really needs to get out and do stuff, and it makes me sad that I can't like go around town and do things. Like, you know, I live not too far from where we are now. We're near Waterloo Park in Uptown Waterloo, and I really like going to the park, and it's too bad that I can't really do that, or like I shouldn't do it a lot.
At least you're like sort of allowed now.
Yeah, as of this recording.
You're not gonna get tickets if you go there.
Yeah. Yeah, but other than that, like, just hanging out. Been doing a lot of writing with a friend of mine. We're writing, like, a full-length screenplay, which is really cool.
Oh, nice. Like, full length is in, like, an hour and a half kind of thing?
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's been really cool. I've never done, like, a full-length screenplay before. And so, at least I can be creative, even though I'm not creating content. Sorry, guys.
Hard to get actors when nobody wants to see you.
Right.
Yeah.
And it sucks that I can't make sure, because I had all those health problems in January till March that I couldn't really do that.
Yeah,
and
the
then,
timing just was not good on that.
Yeah, and then the coronavirus happened, and like I can't go outside or like group people together. It's like, well, what kind of short film's gonna make now?
So you decided to do as much of the prep work for like a big project as you can?
Yeah, and it's with a partner too. So like it's that's like a completely different like creative animal. And I'm realizing now that I really like writing with a partner.
Really?
Yeah, because and it's a partner that I trust too.
I guess that helps.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a Yeah, but I'm really excited about that.
I'm guessing you can't talk too much about it because it's probably near the beginning of its stages.
Yeah. But honestly, it's really exciting. And it's really sad.
It's a sad story.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to be really excited to see it after a pandemic's done.
Yeah.
Let's just relax and watch this sad movie that Luke made.
Yeah.
But it should still be good.
Hopefully.
I'm excited to see something like big you've made. Most of those like around like 5 minutes, or even like how long was the board game one? It was like 10
10,
minutes?
yeah, around
Yeah,
10.
something like that. So
Yeah.
seeing like something over an hour would be quite interesting, I think.
Yeah, ambitious.
Fucking respect where respect is due. It's called Ed's Turn. It has a name. It has a fucking name. You fucking blowhard. That's all I wanted to cut in to say, really.
Ed's Turn is the board game?
No, it's like a thing about a board. Hold on, let me turn the mic so I'm actually looking at you. This will probably generate noise. Yes, we're leaving this in. Fucking fight me. Wait. This is... Yeah.
Alright, back to the chaos portion of it.
Yeah, you know it. Daryl, be honest. Does staying in due to Kroon Madoon mean that you're doing less creative work?
Absolutely not.
No, that's how real men answer the question. Go on, tell me what you're doing. Baby cakes,
Well, I'm doing
style,
I'm doing a lot of meetings with
giant
my
fucking clam. Go on.
I'm doing a lot of meetings with my friends.
Yeah,
And so
sure you are.
yeah,
I fucking believe that.
you know, Zoom meetings and things like that.
I don't.
So I am getting out a lot, and I'm exercising. That's one part of it. But the creative aspect of it is really cool. So most of the time, I like meet up with like a core group of people, 4 or 5 people, and we do something together.
Daryl.
But because we can't do that now,
okay.
it's the
Rescinded.
4 or 5 of us doing an activity together. So it's like we're all baking together, or we're all
Like over Zoom calls?
yeah.
That sounds chaotic as fuck. The whole reason we're here in the same room is because we didn't like the fucking Discord call we did for our podcast.
Yeah, and that's for like recording purposes, right?
All right,
so like
I see.
for audio quality, right? Like it's way better. But yeah, like we can still meet up, and you just have to be a little
bake.
bit and bake and you know, watch movies and things. And
Are we talking about like bake as in like the baked goods variety, or are we talking bake as in like the whole like, you may be a bit too old for this, but there's a thing called Mary Jane.
Yeah. So I hear some kids like to do that, and you know what? You know,
Fuck them. They can go straight to hell.
They deserve to go to jail.
Yeah, but like hell afterwards.
That's right. There's no redemption.
There's no redemption. Yeah, creating it at home is pretty easy to do. You're seeing my like room, and how many fucking whiteboards, posters, and things related to like my creation do you fucking see on the wall? I'm a mess.
I wouldn't say mess. You're creatively, it's actually quite organized. It's the rest of your room that's a mess.
Yeah, is it?
The creative aspect of it actually makes a lot of sense. You have sort of strings going to certain like narrative lines, narrative whatever.
Yeah.
Narrative story streams that you have going on here.
Yeah.
I see you have circles for different categories of things. It is quite all neat and organized.
Thank you. I try. But apparently, like, every time I feel like I'm being, I want to be creative or want to get organized, I'm like, you know what I'll do? I'll buy a 15th fucking whiteboard and then just, like, write about what I want to do on it. And I will admit, ever since the Kroon Madoon happened, probably some of my most productive periods, in terms of, like, trying to balance everything. Because, like, even without the stuff in Credit Zero and the improv stuff and stuff that, like, I don't necessarily want to attach the brand of, like, either Tweed or Paul Dronos to. That's my name, by the way. There's just, like, so many different avenues of things that I want to get done, and I keep pulling myself in 12 directions, even though that's not wise, not good to do. I just like putting shit on the internet. I'm not even there for the social factor. You can get baked with your friends. Me, if I cook, there better be someone with a camera in my face telling me that I'm chopping onions wrong. Daryl.
Ooh, nice. It's a callback.
Yeah.
We made a video once.
It was supposed to be more than once, but then Kroon Madoon happened. Fucking sue me.
All right, we'll put that in the pipeline.
All right, cool.
More videos to come from After School Arcade.
Smooth. Also, Credit Zero, the name of our podcast. Oh shit! I realized we left Drew and Luke in the car. We didn't even.
Sorry guys. Did the train come yet? Yeah. Oh my goodness! I can't wait.
Let's find out. They were just talking about how Luke makes movies. Next.
And even if it just remains a script, and it would be really awesome to like sell it to somebody, and even get into that game, because or I could like make it myself, but I'd have to do it like if I made it myself, I'd have to get like proper funding, and it'd become like a career step, like full-time job.
Kickstarter it and stuff.
Yeah, or like go to a studio and look for investors, which is like
that's scary.
Yeah, it's intimidating, but I'm like kind of excited about it.
I mean, that's how it gets done, right?
You're getting me You're getting me hard, Drew.
We're right beside a park, Luke. Calm down. You're gonna get in trouble.
Have you been doing much creative stuff while you're...
Well, so as some of the listeners know, I DM for 2 like D&D groups.
Yeah.
One of them is like on hiatus until it's over.
Yeah.
But the other one, we've continued to do it online.
Ah.
So we're doing it over Roll20 and like chatting through Discord and stuff.
Yeah.
So on a week-by-week basis, I have to make enough sort of content for them to run around for 3 hours. Mm-hmm. So that's getting my creative muscle still going. It's really stressful though, because the way D&D works, you can bet combat is going to last like maybe 2 hours or like 1.5 hours, depending on how big it is. Mm-hmm. But in a session where there's no combat, you have no idea how long things are going to last.
Yeah.
For all you know, you have 20 minutes of something prepared, and they're going to be playing for 3 hours. And then that's where the improv comes in, and you have to bullshit your way through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the subject of D&D, I've never played it.
What?
Yeah. And it's really not because it's like this nerd thing. Like, I think...
It is a fucking nerd thing.
Of course, but that's not why I don't play it, you know?
All right, you get a pass for me there. Go ahead.
It's not like I don't want to be seen as a nerd. Okay, that really doesn't matter to me. I just have to make that perfectly clear.
Well,
nerds are cool.
Well, yeah, I'd hope so. Like,
nerds are okay.
If we made a After School Arcade the movie, you'd be played by Willem Dafoe.
Right. As we all know, his voice and my voice are very close together.
Okay, voice. That was just Regis Philbin.
Yeah, it was. It was not close.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
It's not.
I forgot that we talked about that in a podcast. He like crawls over the chair like a demon.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't it be great if he hosted? We can get back to your topic in a sec. Wouldn't it be great if he hosted like a game show where you could win municipal control, but over an ungodly number of municipalities, and it would be called "Who Wants to Become a Million Mayors?"
That was a really long setup, man.
It was funny. Fuck you. Go ahead. Tell me about your fucking not playing D&D story. I can't wait for this.
It's not really a story, but I just feel like the time commitment is just too great.
It is 100%.
Doesn't matter what the campaign is. I guess if you have a DM, a dungeon master.
Oh shit! Lingo.
If you have one of those guys that makes a short campaign, you know, maybe a day campaign or, you know, a couple weeks or something, I think I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
But so many of my friends have these like years long.
Years. Yeah, I know. I have played D&D 4 times, and each time it's ended poorly. I'm saying it like this because while we were listening to the podcast, I already said this to Daryl.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I just don't have the head for it, or I keep playing with the wrong people because have we reached the part in the podcast where Drew talks about how... This is going to get weird and meta. There's going to be a part, maybe it's in the past, maybe it's in the future, where Drew says there's 2 types of people that play D&D. There's the numbers focused, like, oh, my glasses types. Drew, by the way, Drew. Actually, it's not even true. He's the other type. And there's the type that really gets into the characters. But I'm going to add to that, even though he hasn't probably said it yet. God, this is getting weird. For the reference, we listened to the first 13 minutes of this of their podcast before going, why don't we split it amongst ourselves? Anyway, and then we start from the beginning again. Anyway, so this is making no sense.
Now the audience knows, and all this knowledge is only helpful.
Dude, did I just 1, 2, 3 blow the lid off this operation? Oh, we did it. Anyway, yeah, so there's 2 types of character performers in D&D. There's the one that's just like, I'm here to have a fun time. Wee! It's the World of Warcraft. You can do what you want. And then there's the other that's like, my character is a dark elf thief. And if I say anything that goes against this character, then you know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I have played almost consistently with those types of people. Those people. Oh! And, sorry.
How much of this are we going to cut out?
I don't know, like, that part.
Good.
I've played with, like, a bunch of those people, you know, Polish people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hungarian.
Yeah. It's just me being offensive for no reason towards another demographic.
Yeah. Fuck yourself.
So when I play with the Dirty Polish, they oftentimes will try to... I love your fucking facial expressions when I say something stupid. They will often clash with me, and, like, they won't say anything in the session. They'll usually, like, use their character's voice, and I'll use my character's voice too, but, like, I won't care about what happens to the world, because it's like, oh no, if, like... And if you're a D&D player listening to this and you're like, oh, you're the exact type of player I hate, where you're just like, I want to have fun. Fuck you with an iron stick, maybe, because I'm just playing D&D to have, like, a good time. I played a druid who was, like, who didn't know he was a druid. He was just, like, a digger working for a corporation who one day discovered that he could, like, mold Earth and, like, change the shape of Earth. And he just figured that's what happens when you get good enough at digging. This is just a skill that anyone can learn. It's like cooking. You do it long enough, you can cook shark. You know, like that sort of thing.
All right.
And, yeah, someone in the group, won't say who, fucking took issue with, like, how silly my character was. And they were like, I feel like you're not understanding the cohesion of the group. Meanwhile, everyone except, like, 2 people in the group were, like, having a ball and laughing with the stupid shit that I would pull up. D&D is, like, the easiest way to figure out what's your style of storytelling and how does it clash with other people.
So, is this why you've only played 4 times and not 5?
Probably, yeah. Every fucking and this is with, like, 4 groups. I'm not saying 4 occasions. Each one of those 4 groups, it was just sort of like, I'm goofy and I don't take anything 100% seriously. Mm-hmm. You know what? It's something we talk about often on After School Arcade. Credit Zero. Sex. Sex is, like, a similar thing for me, where I'm just like, whoa, that probably went away from the mic. Help! Anyway, so it's kind of similar to me, where it's like I don't take 100% seriously all the time. I'll just, like, occasionally I'll say, like, a goofy thing, but I'll never be like, your daddy's little girl, because that's so stupid on the surface to me. And I guess, like, the same sort of thing of, like, everything is 100% serious and, like, blah blah blah. Skyrim doesn't even do that. They have, like, sense of humor and, like, points of humor. I don't think I can do something 100% seriously, you know?
Yeah, and it's supposed to be a fun activity. I mean, you know, somebody spends a large amount of time creating this world as a dungeon master, and then, you know, you all sort of have to interact with each other, and it's not like, you know, sometimes there's, like, a specific goal, but really the goal is having fun.
Yeah, having fun. Back to you guys.
I've only played D&D once, and it was 12 hours long.
Yeah, that sounded like both fun and a nightmare at the same time.
It was 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.
That is a fever dream.
Yeah, and I think I didn't last the full 12 hours. I had to go to bed at 5.
Right.
Because I was starting to get chills. Like, my body was starting to break down. Because like, we had a really filling dinner, but, like we had dinner at, like, 10. And, you know, like...
You get hungry after 7 hours.
Yeah, you get hungry after 7 hours, and, like, all we had was Dr. Pepper. And I was just, yeah, my body was just starting to break down, and it was intense. That's also, like, I'd like actually you to talk about, like D&D and improv coming together. It's, like, not an untouched topic of discussion.
Sure, no, yeah.
But, like, I found, like, my improv skills helped with that, because they're, like, none of the other guys were improvisers, and I felt like some of my writing and storytelling and, like, improv stuff has helped with that.
That's why I see D&D as such a fascinating game, because say you play something like, well, it's a totally different game, but say you play something like Monopoly.
Yeah.
There is basically one way to play Monopoly.
Yeah.
Right? You roll the dice, you buy the things, you do the trades. Sure, some people can be better at it than others, but with D&D, there's so many different ways that are the right way to play.
Yeah.
Like, say you want to focus solely on the numbers and, like, the mechanics of the spells and stuff, and you want to get, like, the graph paper route, you can do that, and you can be, like, a big nerd about it, if you will. Say you want to get totally into your character and talk about unicorns and, like, spend half an hour doing a night watch around a campfire with the people in the room and not actually playing the game, just talking in character. You can do that too, and both of those are totally right. And you can do them together, like one person can like one thing more than the other, and they can still play together. So it's just such a great way to, I guess, bring different kinds of people together, because there's so much for everybody. That being said, you're not wrong to dislike D&D if you don't like D&D. I mean, it's a game. Not everybody likes every game, but I just feel like there's a lot there for a lot of people. And the improv side of things, like, it's amazing how emotionally attached people can get to their characters.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't think that just playing a game.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever played a video game or any sort of personified board game,
Yeah.
you kind of just play it and then it's done.
Yeah.
But with D&D, like, if somebody's character dies
Yeah.
and can't be revived for whatever reason,
Yeah.
they can get pretty upset. And it's like emotionally affects them.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I like to watch Critical Role so much. You watch them and like something will happen, like during the live show, and you know there's like 1,000 people at home crying because they're watching the characters they love in like immense amount of troubles or dying or whatever. And yeah, it's crazy how real it can be if you really give it your all.
Cool.
If you're too cautious about it, it can still be fun, but if you embrace the improv side of it, yeah, it can get really real.
Yeah. Well, I am not deep in the D&D culture, but what I recognize from and what I appreciate is that I've never met someone who plays D&D to win.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know?
Well, because you're not competing with anybody, you're just making a story.
Yeah.
There is like it's called munchkins or min-maxers, are like the two names people give to the kind of people who basically are people who want to win D&D, make the strongest character of all.
Yeah.
But despite making the strongest character of all, like, there's always weaknesses in your character. There's no way to be good at everything. You can't win at everything in that game.
Yeah.
And the only way to win is to get everybody at the table to like you.
Yeah.
And if you try to win all the fights and stuff, maybe you're gonna make people around the table upset, and then you're not winning the social game.
Yeah. Huh.
So it's really like a study of like human behavior,
Yeah.
which I enjoy. Not that I'm at all a psychologist and at all understand what's going on, but it's cool to watch as an outsider.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
Is it?
Interesting.
Interesting. Interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting.
You like that transition there?
Yeah, that was nice.
That was organic. That was an organic transition there. We just repeated the word a bunch of times, and now we're on a new topic.
Can I just insult Luke for a second?
Oh, please.
What a fucking way for him to telegraph, I don't have anything prepared right now, and I don't have anything to say. Just repeats the word fucking interesting over and over again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it really goes to show you the kind of D&D knowledge that Luke is carrying around with him all the
That's fair.
time.
One session. I mean, it was a 12-hour session, so like
And
shit.
he
Although-
copped out at 5.
They had dinner, but they had dinner.
Hey, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, maybe... I feel bad now recording that and just being like, yeah, one person at the table didn't like me, and then Drew immediately says, and the goal is to get everybody to like you. And it's like, yeah, I know I lost. Thank you for fucking reminding me. Jackhole. Pipsqueak. World's biggest clam.
Say it
Sorry, I got steamed there. Steamed clams. Do you have anything to say, or should we pass it back?
Let's go.
All right.
So we did get a few questions.
Yeah, we did.
Because, like, what's a Credit Zero podcast without getting a few questions?
Yeah, what are we doing in this car right now if we didn't have questions?
So why don't you pull one of them up?
Yeah. Do you want a serious one or like a funny one?
Oh god, should we start with the serious one?
A semi-serious one. Ready?
Okay.
Okay. Strengths and weaknesses in improv.
Okay.
This comes from Cameron.
Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you, Cameron.
Cameron, we know through improv, so he's seen us improv before.
Yes. And he mentioned, I texted him to get this question, and he said that the two of us, he really likes that we can use physicality to make our characters, like, distinct and different.
Yeah.
How do you approach that?
I think in terms of the physicality, it's kind of like a little bit of a cheat, but to be aware of your spine and your shoulders is what helps me the most, because they're the most, I think, forgettable things. I mean, legs are also pretty easy to forget a lot of the time because you need them to stand, so it's hard to do crazy things with them because you might just fall over. But if you're aware of your spine and the way your spine is normally, like whoever's sitting in a chair, standing while listening to this, just be aware of your spine right now and where it sits when you're just doing nothing, just doing whatever. It's important when you're trying to make a character to make a choice of what position it's going to be in. It's totally fine to make it the position that you're normally in if you want to play like a very normal character and you want to convey that. But just be aware of the choice you're making, and I feel like that's the important thing, is not to like roll the dice and randomly pick a combination of traits like my arm's going to be over here, my leg's going to be over here, and my spine's going to be this way, and that's what it's going to be. But just be aware of the specific differences to what you are as a person. And those are the two body parts that I focus on.
What are your weaknesses?
My weaknesses? I mean, I don't want to talk down about myself. I'm amazing.
I would rather you do.
I think probably I am very hesitant to, I guess, be in the forefront a lot of the time. Like sometimes I sort of end up there, or I try to be there occasionally. But I feel like when I get there, I start panicking, and I want to get off stage immediately and like shift the focus to somebody else. So I have a really hard time being the center of attention for too long, which is not the most helpful thing in an improv scenario because you're supposed to want to be on stage. So I feel like a lot of the time I push the buck onto other people. And that's probably my biggest weakness in terms of the teamwork side of improv.
Yeah.
And what about you, Lou?
I like doing physical stuff because it's I try really hard not to think about it too much. And doing something physically like gets me more in touch with my intuition. And so like if I can just sort of like feel a character and be, I'm kind of kinesthetic in that way where like if I have a strong physical choice, I can be more present and just sort of like make decisions off the top of my head that would make sense for the character, as opposed to being like, what is this person's background?
So it's almost a gateway to get you out of your head.
Yeah, and like get into my intuition. But I think my greatest weakness is like, where do I go? Like that transition that I did a workshop in at Brock for the summit.
You mean the workshop that you ran?
Yeah, the workshop that I ran, and a big part of it was a lesson that I learned a while ago, in that like start with something that comes right out of your subconscious and then like make the decision and then sort of see and then try and analyze what decision you've made and continue forward from there, because then you look more like you know what you're doing. And that's a little, I think, a little bit more pure to improv, but
that's all in a split second basically that you have to do that.
Yeah. That transition from going through my intuition and just sort of following the feeling into like, okay, what direction am I headed in, is a jump for me. And I can get too caught up in being like, trying
to be too wacky to focus on the character setting, problem, raising the stakes, and conclusion.
Yeah,
that stuff.
Yeah, and especially when I'm like working as a team, sometimes it's like, or like not with you guys, but when I'm improvising with people who are not used to that approach, I get to a point where it's like, they don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and like I can't help them because like I can't.
You've written yourself into a hole with the character. You're not moving it forward with the character
because they don't understand what I'm doing, and then I'm like, well, neither do I. Yeah, that's my biggest weakness, I think. I just like
makes sense.
That kind of jump of like just like shitting out of my mouth, and then sort of analyzing it and being like, oh, that what I just said that came straight from my subconscious is a character decision, and I should remain consistent with that character decision,
Right.
so that it's not like word salad.
But that's more remaining consistent than doing something in the future, or like changing the scene in the future.
Yeah, and sometimes, especially for like long form improv, it can be really fun to be like, what this character decision that I've made just for fun, how can that kind of cause problems in the future?
Yeah, if this, then what, or something like that.
Yeah.
If this is true, then what else is true, I think is the phrase.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's
I don't want to be too pretentious about it.
Sorry that I'm using phrases. I didn't know that was too pretentious for you.
No.
I think there's like a common theme between ours, though. Mm-hmm. For like, we have different reasons to be there,
Yeah.
but we both kind of hesitate to move the scene forward
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Which I think is an important thing to know.
Yeah. But
So if you come to our show and see Luke and I
Yeah.
hesitating to move the scene forward,
Yeah.
just yell at us.
Yeah.
Just heckle the shit out of us.
Yeah.
All right, so before we answer this, I just want to take a second to heckle the shit out of these bastards because they asked us to. They literally asked us to. First of all, don't fucking tell people to heckle us at our shows, you asshole. That is something that's really like... It's okay if people do it at improv shows, especially because you can just sort of incorporate it into part of the act, but encouraging heckling often leads to... You ever seen those bar prov shows where, like, drunk people in the audience just, like, shout, like, incoherently at the stage constantly, and you're in the audience too, and you're watching them for the first time, and you're like, I'm trying to enjoy the people on stage, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I guess there's a point if somebody hasn't seen an improv show before where they're like, oh, they're asking us for suggestions? I guess that's true for the whole show.
Yeah.
And then they just start yelling out, banana peel.
Yeah.
Or, the fall of communism. And then it's like, dude, we're past that part. Shut up.
Yeah, when I was in Niagara, I saw a wonderful troupe called Improv Niagara, but in their earlier days, they had like certain audience members that were rowdy. Hope this isn't like a call out or anything like that. First of all, the troupe themselves, not only are they great, they've evolved over time, and I really appreciate going to their improv. Like, their improv was kind of unrefined at the beginning, but still like fun to go to. Now it's like better to watch and more fun and stuff like that. But in the old days, they had audience members that would just be like, yeah, that was a good one, like at one of their jokes, and it's like, what have you given to this show other than making me hate you as like another audience member? I'm like distracted from Improv Niagara's fucking performance because these people are piece of piss, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, piece of piss. That's a good one. I've heard you use that a couple times so far,
Yeah.
I really I like it.
Thank you. It's from the sniper from TF2.
Okay, you could have just claimed it as your own.
I could have, but that would have been dishonest of me, and I am never dishonest. You know?
No, you're not.
Okay, speaking of heckling these fucking guys, first of all, I'm gonna play that clip where you said that magical thing that made me laugh hard, and could you say it again?
I did a workshop in at Brock for the summit.
I mean, the workshop that you ran?
Yeah, the workshop that I ran, and a big part of it was a lesson that I learned a while ago in that.
Yeah, partway through that, it definitely sounded like Luke was getting bored of what he was talking about.
It was the sigh that did it for me.
Yeah,
it was
just
just at Brock's Improv. It was just so fucking funny when like Daryl just like sat up and just like had a puzzle face. Was like, it sounds like he's getting bored of himself. Also, I really like the fucking be aware of your own spine because it sounds really weird out of context. Like, shh, don't fucking tell anybody, but I got a fucking spine in me.
I got a spine, and I'm not afraid to use it.
What's your weakness and strength? And actually, strength first. Strength first.
My strength in improv. So actually, I want to answer to one of the things that Luke said because I feel like.
Oh shit! Call out.
I feel like as a character, if you have some zany, crazy character and you don't know where to go with it, that's not necessarily your responsibility to take that character somewhere. I think with a good troupe, you sort of see those things, and this actually segues very well into what I think I'm good at,
All right.
which is sort of staying back and looking at the overall narrative and where it's going and how I can sort of direct it to a more salvageable place if there's any salvaging that's necessary.
All right.
That being said, I think yeah, I think if you have a crazy character and somebody narratively comes in and says, well, we're going to be putting you on a plane, we're taking you to a different location entirely, and whatever, setting the scene for something completely different. If you as the character then still don't know what to do, you can still be that one note, like, crazy, zany, I yell at everything all the time character.
You don't have to call me out like this, man.
Yeah, I'm pointing at you.
Yeah.
Or
your finger in my mouth. It was weird.
Yeah, you could take that route, or you could also grow as that character, and then we can see the progression of that character in a different situation, right? So again, I don't think you have to do a lot of thinking. I don't think.
Thank God.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of my strengths, I think.
All right, not doing thinking.
No, the narrative things.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
Moving things along.
All right, and your weakness? Oh shit!
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think actually I don't think I'm very good at characters. I don't think I'm very good at physicality in general. I think both Luke and Drew's like strengths are kind of my weakness.
Ooh.
I become a lot of like a talking heads kind of guy. If I'm not reminded to be a little bit more out of my body, just sort of taking on a different physicality, it definitely looks like me just standing on stage, just saying things.
I do have to wonder if that's like a product of you yourself or a product of your environment. Because Luke, Drew, and I, we came from Brock's zany improv, Brock University in Ontario, Canada, and you came from Waterloo Improv. And I'm wondering if it's like specifically you that doesn't care much for characters, or if it's just like a product of Brock is zanier than Waterloo Improv.
Yeah, it could be. I think a lot of UW, University of Waterloo Improv,
Oh shit.
is kind of like puns, making jokes or one-liners and that sort of thing, and that works. That's fine. But I'm always looking for something a little bit more. So
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, while I don't necessarily do that with character, I'm glad that you guys can sort of step up for me.
I will say, first of all, I don't fucking step up to anything. I will say, when I was working with UW this year, because I was their coach for competitive improv, there was a team of like 8 people in semester 2. I won't be able to remember all their names, not because I don't remember them, but just because like names are fucking like, it's hot in this room, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But all 8 of them fucking impressed the shit out of me this year, and they managed to do like these amazing group scenes that were just like emergent. And emergent is like a term I'm coining for improv when like the things that a group creates becomes more than the sum of their parts, if that makes sense. So it's like a type of group improv, emergent improv is, where it's just like everything sort of clicks together, and suddenly the scene becomes bigger than any one person. Mm-hmm. And if one person left, depending on the type of scene, maybe the scene could still like go on. It would lose like maybe a small element of it, but it's no longer about one person. There's never a main character. And like I was watching some of these scenes gobsmacked and going like, for a university that doesn't like doing character work, you guys are fucking brilliant at it.
Yeah.
Fucking strength and weakness. Here we go. Strength. I'm not, in my opinion, honesty hour? Honesty hour. Is it honesty hour?
I guess so. What
ding,
time
ding,
is
ding.
it?
Yeah, it's honesty hour time. Don't think I'm very good at improv. I don't think like I excel in any like one on paper form of it. If I had to pick like a thing that I offer to the team, maybe it's the fact that my brain is weird and I often take things to like completely different directions than you or Luke or Drew will. There have been times, many a time in shows, where I'm just like, and that means this, and I can see like behind the irises of your eyes, all 3 of you looking at me going, what the fuck did you just... Okay, we're rolling with this now. You know, like that sort of thing. Yeah. And then like it somehow works into it later. And maybe it's like, maybe my subconscious is the best part of me when it comes to improv. And if that's true, that would really fucking suck. Because that means there's nothing I consciously can do to like improve my fucking like... Well, that actually means I have a lot to consciously improve because my consciousness sucks at improv. But like consciously, I don't know, maybe my resourcefulness and my ability to like, if I'm given something on the fly, like something happens in a scene or like someone throws a banana peel on stage, I know like to immediately incorporate that into the scene. Like if a cell phone rings, Luke has picked up on this, but he got this from me. I maintain this to my dying day. If a cell phone rings, like I made it part of the scene immediately. My old joke was Luke used to have like 7 billion alarms on his phone when we did practice.
Okay.
And whenever one of them went off, no matter what my character was doing in a scene, I'd always go, oh, time to take my pill. And then I'd just take a pill, and then we go back to the scene. So yeah, I guess like my ability, which is just like, it's probably commonplace. I don't even know what I'm fucking talking about this. But yeah, to just like change things on the fly. In our last show, we had this scene where a plane was touching down, and 2 of us played the planes, and then we just sort of crashed into each other, and then the pilots got out of the plane. Do you remember this? This was in our February show.
No.
Oh, I think it was either Drew and myself or Luke and myself. We both, like, there was this whole thing about, like, oh, we need to travel to this other country because it was our conspiracy theories themed show.
Right.
And, like, 2 planes came down the runway and they touched heads, and both of the pilots came out and just started yelling at each other in New York accents.
Hey, I'm driving here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what was happening. It was a lot of fucking fun. And also the imagery of 2 planes coming down opposite ends of the same runway is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Weakness in improv. Oh god, how much time do you have? Definitely.
You're editing this, so I mean, really, you're asking yourself this question.
Touche, my friend. I think I'm like the opposite of Drew. What was Drew's again? Drew's weakness was that like he
doesn't want to take charge.
Yeah. I think by hook or by crook, I accidentally end up taking charge way too often. And
whoa! What did you just say there? By hook or by crook?
Yeah. Have you never heard that phrase before?
Never heard that. What kind of old timey saying is this now?
What do you mean old time? Guaranteed at least 3 people listening to this podcast. We've only got like 10 followers on SoundCloud, so you know. By the way, if you're listening to this on Spotify, hit us up on SoundCloud. Get those fucking numbers up. What do we pay you for? Anyway, yeah, fucking by hook or by crook is a common phrase.
Is it?
I say by the by, and you haven't teased me about that.
I've gotten used to that one, but by hook or by crook is one I've never, ever heard in my life.
Oh, yeah, okay, nice. How many people threw up? Show of hands. Well, that's a lot of hands. Oh, yours just hit the ceiling, Cameron. Sorry about that. He's tall. I figure his just hit the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's a phrase. I don't know what the fuck you want me to say. How about?
Okay, cool. I mean, whatever. By hook or by crook, what is your...
hold on. Have you heard of... there's another phrase in my head. Go fuck yourself. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I heard of that one, dickweed.
Yeah, I think I end up being like either the person at the center of the scene or the person that drives it forward, but like in a transparent way, in a way that's not necessarily good. So like you like to drive the narrative forward. I have a tendency to go like, oh no, I've spilled my nuclear fluids on the floor. Hope someone doesn't lick it up and become Superman. Like I'll say that shit in a scene.
That's I think a technical term in improv that describes is platforming.
Is that actually a thing?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I will platform like... it's interesting because I've often called it like foundationing, but I like that better. Because like I lay the foundation for like clearly what's to come. And like, I don't know how to feel about platforming because like on one hand it's like, yeah, you follow the scene and like you can turn it into anything. But like, you're also giving another person like a clear direction that where they're going. And if they just say like, no, it's actually this. They're being a dick. They're being a blocking old dick. Big old floppy wiener.
Yeah, and it's like, well, if you're not going to take
zucchini.
that offer, how are you going to move the scene? Where are we going next?
Yeah,
you know?
And I think that's why I often like have a weird brain and take things in completely different ways because I don't want to necessarily like, I sort of like do as I do, not as I say type. If that makes sense.
Ooh,
where like,
wow, I'm getting childhood flashbacks right now.
So am I. Oh fuck, Mrs. Tillerson. I didn't mean to. Streak in class? I did that in kindergarten. Did I ever tell that story? Oh yeah, hooting and hollering and slapping my
twice,
ass.
in fact.
Yeah. All right, go listen to old podcasts if you want to hear the story of when I streaked in kindergarten. For now, we're talking about improv, my friends. So, yeah, I don't want to like get pigeonholed into. Is that a phrase you're aware of?
I got that one. Yeah.
Cool. I don't want to get pigeonholed. Phrase. Into like a situation where I can't like dig myself out of that hole. Are we good with that?
That's digging yourself out. I think that literally I can see where that one's going.
Because I don't want to be up the creek without a paddle. We good?
I don't. Well, I guess I can figure that one out.
Yeah, cool. So that's worth 2 in the bush. We good?
You're throwing too many out there.
All right, cool.
If anybody that's learned English as a second language that's listening to this podcast, I'm sorry for this man.
I'm sorry for all our listeners, really.
Yeah.
We went from fucking discovering bike thieves in Waterloo to this. How did we get here? Yeah, I oftentimes will try to, like, subvert offers given to me because I want to, like, in my opinion, I have a doctrine in improv where it's like, what does the audience want? And that's what I always follow. But I also try to follow this idea of, like, if the audience knows start to finish how the entire scene's gonna go, you failed as an improviser. You should be, like, surprising them in a joyous manner. So I like subverting offers, but I also like platforming because if someone refuses the platform, they still have to substitute it with, no, but we're gonna go in this other way.
Exactly.
You can't say no to a platform and then just leave that there. You can't be like, you need to go into the spooky woods. I think it's perfectly valid to go, like, even if it's like a cheap shot, like, oh, but there's a path right around the spooky woods and it's actually slower. Like, the wizard can just, like, stare at the fucking the child on an adventure and go like, oh, I'm sorry, are you the fucking wizard? And, like, take off their hat and put it on them. And, like, you could have fun with it, right? But yeah, you can't just be like, you must go into the spooky woods. Nah. Oh. In fact, I think I've done that before, where I've, like, clearly platformed someone who is new to improv, and they were like, no, I don't wanna. And I think my entire reaction was me going, oh, and then just being silent.
What else can you do? I mean, because if you make that one offer, it's a little bit, you're no man's land. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So if you make that offer and it's shut down, it's like, well, I don't kind of want to do that again.
Yeah. I just try to, like, the same sort of resourcefulness as, like, if someone throws a banana peel on stage or if something unexpected happens, I try to roll with that and try to make it part of, like, what's going on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We've been talking for too long. Do we want to pass it back to them, or do you have anything else you want to say about it?
I think we've answered this question too, so let's get going.
Yo, Drew, tell me about your favorite fucking fish.
But whereas you're hesitant to lead the scene, I relish it.
You want all the attention on you.
Oh yeah, so much. It's
Fabulous.
Just like really like all of that sort of like intuitive like silliness to make those character decisions is all just like going back to like being at my parents' dinner parties, coming out with like underpants on my head and just being like, whoa,
Look at me, look what I can do.
yeah, watch me dive, dad, watch me dive.
I'm so quirky.
And then they talk about other shit.
Yeah, then they start playing euchre and start ignoring you.
God. You know what I really like is Mancala.
I've never played Mancala.
It's a very simple game, very old game. There's evidence of it in ancient Egypt.
There's a lot of really simple games that, like, a lot of the games you see now are meant to be complicated, it feels.
Yeah.
And they're really interesting.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how, like, chess, Go, Mancala, all these games that are so simple have lasted so long.
Yeah. Well, Go's complicated in terms of strategy.
In terms of strategy, but the game itself, the, like, written rules,
Yeah.
like, a paragraph long.
Yeah.
And then you play, like, Dominion, and each card has its own rule, and it's crazy complicated.
Yeah, or like those games that require an app or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, like One Night Werewolf.
One Night Werewolf.
Yeah, you can't do... Well, I guess you can do that with spoken word, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, that's a fun game. I'm glad Paul introduced that into our lives.
Yeah. Games like that where you can yell at each other and get away with it, I really enjoy.
Yeah, or like just betraying your friends. Yeah. That's also something that like that I learned early on in my life is that like when games like that, like you can't defeat a nihilist. Like
Or if you do, then the nihilist doesn't really care.
Yeah, right. And so like in something like One Night Werewolf, I'll just like I don't really care about winning or losing, and sometimes I'll accidentally win. And it's because like I'm not trying to win. And like in a game, and that's different for like chess, but like One Night Werewolf is all about manipulation.
It's manipulation and it's following lies and like logic patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
But if there's an element of chaos where you can't use logic to discover whose card is whose,
Yeah.
you can't win.
Yeah.
You can take a guess and that's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
What do these idiots not understand about One Night Ultimate Werewolf? What's so hard to fucking understand?
Yeah, it's not about, the game
Logic.
mechanics or whatever bullshit they're going on about. It's
You have to
all
use logic to deduce his card. I know how fucking Drew plays D&D now. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
badly. Anyway, I think it's fair to say you and I, the pathological liars of Credit Zero,
Indeed.
are the best at One Night Ultimate Werewolf. And why?
Because we know personality.
Yeah, it's about personality. You have to figure out, figure out everybody at the table, what they're most susceptible to, and play to each of their weaknesses. That's how you fucking win at One Night Werewolf.
Yeah, and it's, what do I want to say here? The One Night Werewolf is a game about manipulation, but a strategic manipulation.
Yeah.
If you're seen as manipulating right away, that paints you in a dark corner. People will like either want to kill you right away, or they won't listen to what you say, and your words mean nothing.
Yeah, I always like, I'm sure you've played One Night Ultimate Werewolf, so you can probably attest to this. I play it kind of strategically from the get-go, whether in a strategy that benefits me, whether I'm good or bad, where I take control right away and go like, okay, I want to say what I am, or if it's more strategic that I don't say it right away, I'll say what I am as soon as the troublemaker and the robber come forward, or I'll just be like, I did this, yo, random person, what were you? And immediately put like the fucking emphasis on someone else. That's good strategy, whether you're a good guy and want the good guys to win, or a bad guy. Bam, bibbity, bam. Now you know. You can kill me now.
And you put this on the podcast, so everybody listening also knows.
Cameron, Leslie, who else? Honestly, if you don't know us in real life and you're listening to this podcast like this early on in our podcasting, however fucking long Credit Zero goes for, thank you. Hi, we like you. I like you. I don't know, Daryl. He's shaking his fist right now.
I could care less if you're here or not.
Okay.
I could care less, but I
Oh,
don't.
I see. Could. You're using it correctly, you son of a...
Yes.
Is that figurative language, or...?
I don't know. I don't know what figurative means.
Cool.
I'm a dumbass. I graduated from the UW University.
Oh, that sure means you're dumb. I went to Brock, dude. I can't fucking say shit.
I don't know anything about Brock. Has a good teaching program.
Probably. I didn't go to it.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I also wanted to say about One Night Werewolf is you actually didn't introduce it to me. I learned about this game.
I introduced it to you. I said I introduced it to them.
Yeah, and they gave you proper credit for that, but that's not my truth.
Yeah. Daryl probably knew about One Night Ultimate Werewolf before me. I knew about it starting 2014. So if you knew about it before then, you're good to go, baby.
Yeah, 2012, I think.
All right, you're the here's the crown. Ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Feels good. It's weighty.
Why did it make a popping sound?
Weighty crown.
That was weird.
No, that was my head. I have several boils on top of it.
Yeah.
So that when I put anything on
Talk
top...
about werewolf.
See, this is why I don't wear hats. Anyways.
Several boils. It's like a minefield. You got to strategically avoid them when you place a hat.
That's right. That's why I just let the sun beat down on me.
This is like a 90s kids toy where it's like, put the hat on Daryl. Careful, he's got several boils.
Pop the boils for extra points.
Why'd you pop the boil? Wouldn't you want to avoid popping the boil? I'm thinking like when you try to put the hat down, it's like Don't Wake Daddy. You want to place the hat without popping the boils. You pop a boil, you get wet and you lose.
Yes. Oh, that's true. You get wet and you lose. That should be the tagline.
Credit Zero. You get wet and you lose. Oh, you meant of your game?
Yeah, no, but that's even better. Can we just change that? Credit Zero. You get wet and you lose.
Yeah, probably. Sure. I don't know what I'll change it on, but you got it.
Yeah, so One Night Werewolf, I learned it as a game, I learned it in French first, because I did a program called Katimovic. I was with a lot of...
French people?
Well, a number of French people, but French and other people from Canada.
Okay.
We were all young people that lived in the same house for about 6 months. Very fun, very cool. I don't know if the program still exists in that same form, but if you're a young person between the ages of 17 and 21, check it out. It's a pretty cool program. But we learned it as...
But. Yeah.
We learned it as loup-garou.
He said lube.
No, loup-garou.
Which is werewolf in French.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you trying to like present that as like a fucking the prestige moment? Guess what it means?
Oh well, yeah. You guessed it right away.
I'm sorry, I went
You're
to high
too
school.
quick for me.
I went to high school, friend. It's not quick. It's not quick.
But yeah, I learned it with my French friends, and so...
That's debatable.
So there was also not an app for it. It was only cards.
Yeah. The app has like that's probably like a 2014-esque thing, because it also features the voice of Aaron Hansen, because Game Grumps did their...
from the Hansen brothers.
Yeah. From Dear Evan Hansen, you got it. The Game Grumps did a short-lived series called Table Flip, where they played board games and like card games and stuff like that, and their most popular By a Country Mile series was One Night Ultimate Werewolf. And they had this segment where like Aaron would narrate when like, everyone close your eyes, do this, Masons do that. Mm-hmm. And then like everyone liked it so much that eventually the people who I guess later made the app for Werewolf was like, yo Aaron, can we actually just like yoink that and use it? And Aaron was like, chuck yeah, brother. Those words exactly. And it made history. Could have used my voice, but that's fine. I was 18 at the time.
Your voice was probably not as deep and developed as it is now.
My voice ain't that deep. My voice ain't that deep. Really trying to set the... I don't know. People will be like, oh, you have a mid-low voice. And other people will tell me, oh, you have a mid-high voice. I think I just have a fucking mid-voice, dude. It's like when people tell me like, oh, you can't possibly be taller than 5'9". And other people say like, oh, you can't possibly be shorter than 5'11". Meanwhile, I'm exactly 5'10".
Okay.
It's like...
So people are just basically guessing the range that you're in.
Yeah, but they're all wrong. Where it's like, you can't possibly be taller than 5'9". You can't possibly be shorter than 5'11".
Yeah.
And I just happen to be in the fucking middle. Like, what's wrong with these people?
I know. We should get them asking some questions for us on our After School Arcade podcast.
They should, yeah. You know, they should also do... they should subscribe to our Patreon. We'd like to...
Oh, nice.
Yeah, thank you.
I like that segue.
Thank you, yeah. If you aren't supporting us on Patreon, what are you doing with your life? We'd like to give a special thank you to, I think, just M. She's supporting the podcast. She's at a certain tier where she gets a shout out on every fucking video. Thank you. You're helping pay for our fucking SoundCloud fees, especially while we don't have shows going on. Literally, we'd be losing money if it weren't for people like you while we're doing this sort of thing. Thank you.
Thanks.
Over to you guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, over to you guys.
So I like doing that. You can't. I did that with I did that with a game in like, I remember in like first year university where it was at a Waterloo Summit actually. It was like a role playing game, and like there's a lot of like betrayal and like sort of lying and things like that. And I think I won because I just kept quiet and made my random decisions very seriously. And they were like, "What are you doing? Like, what's his deal? Like, what's his what?"
Was it like Resistance or something like that, or Coup?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It wasn't Coup. It was some medieval game.
There's plenty of games out there.
Bullshit.
Is a board game that was nerdy? What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I like how you said like the munchkins in D&D that play to win. It's like you could be super nerdy about that. I'm like, you're playing D&D.
Yeah, no.
That's nerd squared, my dude.
Hey, I'm not here to make D&D sound cool, but it is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
For nerds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've actually been getting more and more into board games.
Yeah. Which
is kind of an awkward time to do that.
Yeah.
Because I can only play with my mom and my girlfriend right now.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Whoa! Yeah, that was dicey. I mean, you people at home are probably already laughing because you're as mature when it comes to sex as the rest of us. I don't even know if, like, I want this to go beyond 10 seconds. I just wanted to point that out.
You all know what we're talking about.
Playing with my mom and my girlfriend, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's weird. It's gross. I don't condone it.
Only one of those things is okay.
It's a girlfriend, yeah? Cool. Back to your guy.
Not the I can't play like 4-player games and stuff. Yeah. But I've been playing Catan a lot more.
Catan's really cool.
Catan's really cool. We should play Catan. Yeah. I love the amount of it's kind of like how you can trade in Monopoly.
Yeah.
But you're trading like every turn and like arguing back and forth of whether to stop somebody else or like they're getting too far ahead.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that way. My brother just got a game called Unstable Unicorns. It's weird. It's really weird. They have a not suitable for work version. where there's like unicorn butt plugs and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. It's an interesting game to say the least.
Yeah, interesting. I remember playing Catan. There was like a board game cafe in St. Catharines that had like a really nice bar. It's Odd Bird, actually.
I don't think I've been there.
It was kind of newish, so you may have been graduated by the time.
It might have been that last year.
Yeah, it's on St. Paul Street, like close to like what's it? Chili Pepper.
Is it where the burger place used to be? Because they closed down, didn't they?
Hamburger?
What the fuck is wrong with
The lead up to that answer was just so gold.
The best part was we were talking over it, so I didn't hear quite what was. Like Daryl's heard this before, but to me, I was just like, nonchalant point with Daryl. You know, Daryl's like, yeah, I agree, and then just like, hamburger. I'm just like, what is going on over there? Maybe I should listen. That's on me. But apparently, when I listened, we were also talking about this. I kind of wish I got your laugh in recording, but that's in the moment, baby. So I guess we missed out on that. I love how Daryl pointed this out. Drew keeps comparing everything to fucking Monopoly. He's done it twice in this podcast alone, and I swear he's done it before too.
Yeah, it's like Monopoly is really his only frame of reference.
Yeah, I was joking around with Daryl behind the scenes. We're like, you know, when you meet a cute girl in a park and it's like Monopoly.
Remember when, you know, the car was almost out of gas, just like Monopoly.
And we stopped joking right around the point where I listened back to Drew and he's like, unicorn dildo. And
Oh, unicorn butt plugs.
unicorn butt plug, and then I turned to Daryl. I was like, "Yeah, it's like Monopoly." And we started laughing. Anyway, that's all I had. Over to you guys.
Was it just called Hamburger?
There's a fancy hamburger place called Hamburger.
It was not that fancy.
Okay, this is a different place. Anyway, Odd Bird. Yeah, and we went to. I remember. I forget who I went with. And we played Catan and like drank cocktails. And it was,
that sounds so nice.
I am so looking forward when the quarantine is lifted.
Yeah.
To board game cafes.
Oh my god.
And bars. I was talking to my girlfriend. I was like, I don't think we've ever been to a bar together just to have a drink. And she's like, yeah.
And now you can't.
Now I can't. Forever.
Forever and ever. Yeah, I've never really spent a lot of time in a board game cafe. Mm-hmm. The first board game cafe I ever went to was when we met up for the first time with After School Arcade.
Wow.
And we didn't even play a board game.
No, we just had a meeting.
Yeah, we had tea and a meeting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really need to get out to one eventually.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
But for now, I'll play with my mom and my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That'd be great.
We should do like when the quarantine is lifted. We should do like a double date Catan Smackdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Julia's getting pretty good at it.
Yeah.
She might be able to beat you.
Okay. You can't compete with a nihilist.
In Catan?
Yeah. That's actually a game where you could, because you just win.
Yeah.
You can
Nihilist
just
is like,
win.
I just won't build anything.
Yeah.
And then you just win.
You can just win. Yeah, dude. Oh, we got another question that was really fun. And it's from Leslie, and it's which room in Hogwarts is the best place to have sex? Now,
A little bit less about improv, this one.
yeah. Now, you mentioned before room of requirement.
Yeah, I thought the room of requirement would easily be the best room.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you're into. Soft beds and pillows, sex dungeon, BDSM. You could have a barrel full of condoms in that thing. I think that's how the room of requirement works.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it actually makes stuff or just has stuff stored in it, but I feel like you could probably make it into a pretty comfortable spot.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I'm sure there's some freaky shit in the Hufflepuff dormitory. I'm thinking like furries, like, you know, like that sort of nerd BDSM thing. A lot of purple hair.
What is Hufflepuff's known for, like, loyalty, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, so
hentai.
they trust each other.
I see a lot of hentai. Yeah.
Hentai's gotta be Ravenclaw, though. That's my guess.
No, because Ravenclaw's like...
It's like book smart and stuff.
They're like prickly, though.
Prickly?
Yeah. Like, when I think of Hufflepuff, I think of, like, Tumblr sex positive. like
Oh, I
like
see. Yeah.
nerd culture and like sexual freedom sort of blending together into an interesting orgy.
And yet nobody wants to be in Hufflepuff.
Yeah, I think of like
I feel like they keep it secret though.
yeah, but they have like a knight,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like just a big mound of androgynous flesh. Everyone's fucking everybody. Like,
But only like
everyone's bisexual.
only like
and they're
fourth
just, like,
year and up, because like I think you get
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
a little
yeah,
too
yeah,
young,
yeah, yeah,
a little
yeah.
early on.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
even above fourth year. How old are you in fourth year? Like you might actually be like 15. Maybe it's a bit older than that.
All right,
But for the upper years, the upper years get all
The
crazy.
upper years.
Yeah.
Yo, it's your neighborhood buzzkill coming in just real quick. That would make a lot of sense. First of all, it's really cool how Luke is going like, yeah, I bet Hufflepuff would be a lot of SJWs with their fucking purple hair and furries and shit like that. And then going like, yeah, no one would want to be in Hufflepuff. Like, he said those things.
Yeah, really, I don't have a lot of Harry Potter knowledge, but I mean, like, if I were part of the Hufflepuff house, I would be really offended.
Yeah, I also really love the idea that, like, according to the way the books present themselves to Luke, no one wants to be in Hufflepuff, especially after he described them as SJWs, which would make sense considering that J.K. Rowling is a TERF. And also, like, keeps, like, writing representation into her books but never actually showed it. So, like, in tweets she'll be like, there were Jewish kids in Hogwarts, and then there were never any, like, actual Jew representation in Hogwarts.
What's a TERF?
Trans-exclusionary radical feminist. So basically someone who believes in feminism, but trans rights? Pfft, are you kidding? Get that shit out of my face.
Wow.
Yeah, she's not a good person. I'm not the best authority to talk about this. Literally just Google, why is J.K. Rowling a TERF? While you're at it, Google, like, Tom Hanks porn, and let me know what you get. Back to you guys.
What was it you said?
I'm making a gross face.
Yeah, what was it you said? You said the Chamber of Secrets would be a good spot.
Yeah, but now that I think about it, it's like cold and wet.
Yeah, and you have to like know parcel tongue to get in there.
Well, that's sexy though.
That's true.
Yeah,
Anything
you
involving a tongue.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
dexterity to speak to snakes. And there's like it's just a lot of like wet, cold stone. And I
Yeah.
don't find that sexy.
There's no cushions or whatever.
It's not warm. I'm sure you're gonna get a UTI.
Well, nobody's been down there.
What do you mean?
Well, like few people have been down there.
You slayed the basilisk.
That's true. That's a metaphor for something, I'm sure.
Don't understand.
Is there any other good rooms? What about that haunted shack? Would that be a good place? Probably not. I feel like you would be a little spooked out. Although you wouldn't be interrupted if you went to that haunted shack.
Which haunted shack?
In the third movie. The one where or the third book, I should say, for all you Puritans out there.
Peter Pettigrew. That
Peter
one.
Pettigrew, yeah.
Okay. In Sirius Black.
And Sirius Black, yeah.
He's a sexy man.
He's got that like rugged look to him.
Yeah.
He's got the long hair.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like what is the place where Voldemort was like born again? In the Goblet of Fire.
You mean the graveyard?
Yeah.
What? One, that's not on
And he's-
Hogwarts.
and he's-
Two, why the graveyard?
And he's all like emaciated and wrinkly, and they throw him in the cauldron.
So just thinking about that gets you going?
Yeah, and Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah. Now,
Scabbers.
Peter Pettigrew, that's a man right there.
Yeah, he used
Yeah.
to be a rat that's missing a toe. What's sexier than that?
Alright, well, enough talk about fucking in graveyards.
I wonder if that is how should I phrase this?
Be careful.
Separated from necrophilia, I wonder
Right.
if that is like a fetish.
Oh.
Like
it's gotta be, right?
Distinct from necrophilia, because you could get caught.
Yeah, it's gotta be one of those, like, you know you're doing something wrong, living on the edge kind of thing.
Yeah.
Disrespecting the dead.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you have, like, a lifelong villain, or, like, enemy, and you fuck on their grave,
Whoa.
that's gotta be a thing for somebody. That has to have happened before.
Yeah.
All right, good news, Daryl. Clearly you're not the only one in our troupe who has not read the fucking Harry Potter books or seen the movies, because holy shit, it's called the Shrieking Shack, first of all. Second of all, it's not on Hogwarts grounds. It's like a separate fucking thing. It's like its own fucking place.
Yeah.
Voldemort was born in like fucking Brisbane or something like that. He was born like way away. He was like reborn in the Goblet of Fire, which took place on the Triwizard Tournament grounds. I think that took place on Hogwarts grounds. I'm pretty sure. It's a castle in fucking Scotland. So I'd like to answer. Oh, fuck! I've got a good answer.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna try to like make sure this is applicable, like understandable to you, even though you haven't read them. So, herbology greenhouses, right?
Yep.
It's a magical wizarding world. You can imagine there's like vines that come to life and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you imagine the BDSM paradise that would be vines that have been specifically grown and trained to know how to like properly really like grip somebody if they're really into like the BDSM scene, so that like their fucking wrists are like taken apart. It's like tying someone to the bed, but better because it's living and can like apply itself in real time. And like if you say the safe word, it releases its grip immediately. You don't have to be like, the safe word is rutabaga, and you're like, rutabaga, because you're starting to get uncomfortable, and your partner has to run around looking for the fucking handcuff keys. No, you just say rutabaga, and the magical plants know to release themselves.
Wow. That would be kind of cool. Very kinky.
Yeah.
And very tentacle-like.
Yeah, well, I gotta imagine, as they kind of touched on, there's like a lot of like, as Luke touched on with like, the Hufflepuffs are a bunch of furries anyway. There's probably like a lot of unresolved, like, we're not wizards, and like a startling number of human beings are into like tentacle porn and shit like that. Can you imagine if you have access to magical powers, the jamais vu of, we could have kinky sex? It would be that easy. Like, imagine if the access to like really kinky sex was easier. That's probably why BDSM is so popular kink in the first place, because it's taboo and yet accessible.
Wow.
Yeah. So, herbology greenhouse, I think like the objectively best answer so far. Better than Shrieking Shack, which is not there, a graveyard, the Chamber of Secrets, which by the way is full of fish bones. It's like chock full of stones and bones. You couldn't lie down comfortably. The whole point of like, the whole tension of that scene was they got stuck in this place where it looks uncomfortable to even fucking sit.
Maybe you could gather a bunch of bones together and turn it into a bed.
Maybe, Daryl. Maybe. One can only dream. What's your fucking answer? Go ahead, guy who hasn't read the fucking books. I want to hear this.
Yeah, I don't have one. I don't know enough about the rooms. I don't know enough about the institution itself.
All right.
But yeah, I will say I don't think that any room in Hogwarts is going to be private. I think anywhere you go.
Oh, that's true. The herbology greenhouse does have like glass, like walls and stuff like that. You'd have to do it at like night when you know nobody's watching. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the downside of the herbology greenhouse. But the upside is literally the best BDSM experience you could ever have. You can like charm vines into like being finely tuned for you and your optimized levels of like pleasure and pain, and you can just go to town. Fuck, you could go there without a partner and just charm the vine to like go up your puss or your ass or something like that and stop at a certain point before it becomes painful and like, I don't know, do whatever you want. It's the wizarding world. It's World of Warcraft. You can do what you want. You can charm it any which way you want.
But that raises an interesting point about consent. Because if you're charming a plant to do some sexual things for you, did you ask the plant?
If you're charming the plant to do anything, did you ask the plant? If you're going to make this a matter about consent, this has already been here before the sex happens. And if you're going to argue that, like, going forward with the sex, regardless of whether the plant consents makes me a bad person, I would argue it doesn't have consciousness. It's not life that requires you to consent, it's consciousness.
Alright.
People stick zucchinis up their puss all the goddamn time. What can't you do with vines?
Yeah. But this is a different world where maybe
the
vines,
world of Harry Potter.
Maybe vines have some sort of free will.
If they have free will or consciousness, even if they just have consciousness, because like I would argue that fucking like dogs don't have free will, dumbasses that they are. But they have consciousness. I'd never fuck a dog. You know what I'm saying?
Good on you, man.
Thank you. No one really appreciates that, what I've done for society by not fucking a dog.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, we've all done some terrible things, but at least leave the mutts alone.
I don't know if I've done terrible things sexually. like, that's not even a topic I want to, like, breach on Credit Zero. It's like, what's the worst thing you've done sexually with another person? Honestly, we probably already answered that with my second threesome.
Right, yeah.
I mean, well, that's just awkward, not, like, bad, but yeah, that's just, like, not, I don't want to breach that topic. It wouldn't be fun. It would just be, like, a bunch of, like, and then I learned a valuable lesson about this, but we learned it the hard way. And, like, I've had, like, I think I've brought up, like, parts of my sexual history that weren't fun in past podcasts, and none of them had to do with the consciousness of vines. And if you think that you're gonna fucking rope the consciousness of vines into reasons I stay up at night with fucking PTSD flashbacks, you have another fucking thing coming, my friend.
Just like that train that's coming.
What?
Right now. Do you hear that, guys?
Oh fuck, I can hear it coming.
I'm sure. Hear the train?
I hear the train. Can you hear the train, audience? It's basically just a bell.
Yeah. We're by the train track.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Hogwarts is an interesting place to fuck. I don't know. I get kind of like turned off. Like I really like new Gothic architecture and like places that look, you know, like sort of like Gothic churches and things like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't get me turned on, but
No.
I just like them.
Yeah.
It if anything, it makes me feel kind of ascetic. That, like, I should take this seriously.
Like you should wash out all of the sin from your mind.
Yeah, because this is the house of God.
Oh, I just had a thought. What
Whoa.
about fucking in front of that mirror that shows you everything you desire? What would that look like?
Yeah.
That'd be so weird.
It would be weird.
You'd like get to know yourself in a more real way.
Yeah.
Like what? Shh. We're trying to record.
What's that thing in number 3 that Lupin shows that like appears to you in the form of the thing you most fear?
Oh, I don't remember what it's called.
I'm sure a boggart or something.
A boggart?
A boggart or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I'm sure like that would be so sexually confusing.
Because it's not even like how some people like a little bit of pain or whatever, but they want to feel like sort of safe but sort of on the edge.
Yeah.
Like that's just like your actual biggest fear.
Yeah, Professor Snape.
Yeah. Ronald Weasley.
I hate spiders.
Luke Webster.
Ridiculous.
Is that what you shout out at the end?
When I come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we should wrap this up soon so that Paul and Daryl can come.
Yeah, we can't take the full hour and a half amount of time.
Nah.
No,
but
we should let them come.
No, but we should get out of the way, but we should leave them with something.
Leave them with a little treat.
Yeah. So why don't we tell a story?
Tell a story.
Tell a story.
So we're gonna tell a story, and Paul and Daryl, if you're listening, we have a request of you. At the end of your podcast, you have to tell this exact same story.
Yes. You can't re-listen to it.
No.
No. You can only listen to it once and take note at the beginning of the of your app, and then at the end see if you can retell it.
Yeah. So if you ever played Broken Telephone, this is a I guess only really one connection broken telephone, but
Yeah.
not a very long chain.
Yeah. All right. So, you know what? This is a perfectly good setting as any.
Sure.
You know, we're in Uptown Waterloo. We're in the parking lot of the old train station, the Heritage Information Center. So, Ruth walks out of her job at the visitor center, right?
Right. She's done with it.
She's done with it.
She had the worst day, and she quit on spot.
Yes. And now, bear in mind, she's a volunteer. She's semi-retired. She's earned her keep.
Sure.
All of her kids have moved out.
She doesn't need this job.
No. She wants to, in after retirement, she needs to fill her time. But she's had it.
Yeah.
This woman just got berated by some floozy
Wearing a pink dress.
wearing a pink dress
And one of those
with
floppy summer hats.
floppy summer hats with a little dog in the little purse.
Yeah, and it's just poking its head out, and while she's berating Ruth, the little dog's going, yap, 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 yap.
Yap, 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 yap. And she says, if you ever disrespect my dog in here, and she's just trying to politely say, please, you can't have a dog in
Yeah.
here. This is public property.
It's on the sign on the door. It's
Yeah.
got a little dog with one of those Ghostbusters circle with a line through it symbols.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good way to describe it.
Sorry, I was watching New Girl the other day. This is all part of the story. You have to repeat all of this.
Yes. Now she's had it. She quits on the spot.
Yeah.
Locks up, throws the key into the fountain.
Locks the floozy inside. She just walked around the counter,
Holy shit.
exit the building, locks up, throws the keys
Throws the key,
in the fountain.
pours the gasoline. Is this where this is going?
I mean, it is now. You said it. I saw where I was going with
Pours
it.
the gasoline around the visitor center, lights a match, and it bursts into flames. Here is the beginning of the descent of Ruth.
This happened 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. Now, Ruth's life has not been the same since those two last months.
Her husband has gone on a work trip,
Yes.
so to speak. Yeah, so that's the beginning of a story.
Yes. So, Paul and Daryl, it is your challenge to recreate that story as close to the original as possible.
Yeah.
You can work together on it, so you have two minds working at it.
Yeah, you could finish it if you
You
want.
can finish it if you want
If you're
to.
vibing,
Yeah.
you're vibing. That's great.
But you got to stay close to the original message of the story.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys know our Instagram and Twitter, things like that. We had our video cooking with Tweed. That was
Yes.
that was fun.
Yes. That soup was actually surprisingly good.
Yeah, it was good.
Although my attempt at a rough Australian accent at the end, not so good.
Anyway, yeah, Daryl, Paul, take it away.
Take it away and good luck. Ah.
Alright, wait, no, shut up, the audiophile. There we go. Alright, so we have to recreate this dumbass, stupid-ass, piss-ass story about Ruth, the fucking flame murderer?
Well, we don't know about that yet. We'll get to that, though.
Alright, cool. So this story takes place, I'm sure you remember, in the parking lot in Uptown Waterloo of the Heritage Info Center, the old train station, if you
This
will.
is not part of the story, but that's not really a good landmark. Like the visitor center, what is that? Everybody knows that is where the Clay and Glass Museum is. That's the
I
corner.
was about to say that, yeah. Even I remember that.
It's at the corner of Herb and Caroline. You cannot miss it. Okay, the visitor center. Like, what are you talking about? This train station is closed.
I've never
The train doesn't
visited-
even go there anymore, dumbass.
Never even visited it once. I'm not a visitor, clearly. I've gone to the park. The park's beautiful. I like the park.
Yeah, the park is beautiful, and when things open up again, the Clay and Glass Museum is a great place to take a date because it is free.
Hey, you want to go there sometime?
Yeah.
I'm not like saying we should date, but you know.
That's fine. We can go.
All right, sweet. Well, you know what? We'll both pay homeless women to come with us. Double date.
Cool.
All right, so the story takes place in the parking lot of the Heritage Info Center, otherwise known as the old train station, of course. Now, this is the story of Ruth. Ruth had a bad day at her job, and she's just had enough. She's just like walking out, right?
She has had the worst day.
Yep.
She's had to deal with, customers berating her all day long.
She's retired, but she's still working part-time afterwards, just like getting that pension and that pay, and I can fucking respect that, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
but this place at the visitor center, that's a volunteer job.
Oh, okay. I didn't... Is that a true fact
Yeah,
of
that's
reality?
that's part of it.
That's
yeah.
cool. There's some fucking floozy. I remember this distinct floozy.
In a pink dress.
Pink dress, a floppy summer hat, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna get this exactly right, but she said, and I quote, "If you ever disrespect my dog," and then it just cuts off because like Drew interrupted Luke.
Right. So this floozy has a very small dog in a small purse.
Like a poodle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a poodle.
Yeah.
It is a poodle.
I think it's a poodle, yeah. And this dog has like a tag that's like Ghost Bunders on it.
No. No, but this lady is trying to argue that her dog should not be disrespected in this visitor center. But clearly on the outside,
Oh, shit, you bringing
there's
facts here.
there is a sign that says no dog. Got a picture of a dog with the ghost bunders. No ghost bunders happening there.
Oh, that's what that was said. Yeah, I missed that part. Thank goodness that we've got two minds going on this.
Yeah.
So Ruth had enough. She locked the floozy inside. She threw the key away inside the fountain. She poured gasoline all over the Heritage Center, and then she set it on fire.
Yeah, it's not actually clear that she set the visitor center on fire. She put fire around the visitor center, almost like a moat of fire.
All right.
So maybe this lady is not quite dead yet.
She's maybe like a huge fan of Johnny Cash.
Ooh, Ring of Fire. I like it.
This happened 2 months ago, so who even fucking cares? First of all, this happened in March?
Yeah, that was the beginning of the descent of Ruth.
Nice. You know what also was? It was beginning of the Karun Madoon. Yeah, this is going to be our, like, we're going to barely get this episode in by the end of May. What I like about recording this at the end of May is that tomorrow we're going to have to have the discussion of, all right, so when do we record the June episode?
Right.
We're all going to be fucking exhausted and shit like that from the Karun Madoon. All right, so this is 2 months ago. Ruth's husband is overworked or upset or some shit.
He went on a work trip.
Cool. I tuned Luke's voice out because I hate him.
But this is kind of where it ends, so we're gonna pick it up from here.
All right. He won at his work a Nintendo Wii.
Wow. His work must really not have a lot of money, because a Nintendo Wii is like, what, $150?
It's a Nintendo Wii, bro. You ever played Wii Sports?
Yeah.
It's like actually playing tennis.
You're right, and boxing is like real life getting hit in the head.
I mean, you get the whiplash like it is, but yeah, that's just, you just gotta like move the fucking controllers like you're a fucking Benihana chef, but in horizontal as opposed to vertical.
I like that reference, Benihana. Not a lot of people know that one.
Thank you.
We do have Benihanas here in Canada, but they're not the same.
No?
They don't do the same kind of chef tricks.
Oh man, well then we just gotta go to Japan?
I think it's in Florida or somewhere in the States.
Yeah, alright. I guess. I thought they'd have Benihana chefs in Japan. They have like a lot of different cuisines there.
Yeah, they might. But anyways, Ruth's husband, so he won a Wii, and so he had to hop on a plane to Japan to pick up this Wii.
Oh man, it's
They
straight from the
couldn't-
Japanese.
They couldn't deliver it.
I mean, this is the part where I get to point out things that I know. If it's a Japanese Wii, then it's not going to play American games that easily.
No, but good thing is that it's free, so he can just play Japanese games.
Do they pay for the plane ride? I'd argue that you want a free, like, 12-hour trip to Japan instead, and it just happened to include a Wii in it.
Yeah.
A useless Wii.
But Ruth was very jealous of her husband winning the Wii. She wanted that Wii.
She wanted the Japanese.
Yeah, so...
Is the floozy Japanese? Oh, that is a hate crime.
Uh-oh. We better not touch that one.
All right, go on.
So after Ruth's incident with this floozy in the visitor center, she promptly went home and killed her husband.
What? Is he Japanese?
No, enough
Okay.
with the Japanese, man.
Why is it offensive that she married a Japanese guy?
We're sidestepping the whole Japanese thing.
What
because
nationality was he?
That's not important.
Could be Japanese then.
Yeah, I'm not describing his ethnicity nor his sexuality.
His sexual. We can guess that he's at least into women.
Yes.
All right, go on.
Anyway, she killed her husband in a fit of rage.
What's her husband's name?
Carl.
No, that's not a very Japanese name. I'm gonna put that as English.
Right?
No, Carl could be like a Swedish name.
It could be. Yeah.
Carl Jurgensen or something like that.
Yeah.
What's his last name? Jurgensen?
Claire Stein.
Claire Stein. Is he Jewish?
I'm not telling you. That's not important to the story.
Maybe he's like a Romanian Jew. Like Claire Stein? Claire specifically. That sounds like a Romanian Jew name.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
Have you ever like had Romanian Jew cooking?
No.
It's fucking delicious. That's all I have to really say about that. Like, I just really, I had it at once at a restaurant. I was like, I like asked point blank because it was one of those like places that was like, an obscure name on the outside, and I didn't know a more polite way to say this, so I was like, what ethnicity is this restaurant? And they were like, oh, it's Romanian Jewish cooking. And I was like, what? This is amazing. And they were like, L'chaim.
Is that how all Romanian Jews speak to each other?
It's how the one I talked to did.
Nice.
I wasn't Romanian Jewish, so I can't answer for how they speak to each other. I'm only Hungarian, and I think I was related to some Jews once upon a time, but then the 40s happened. What are you gonna do? This is like an actual thing. Like, I had Jews in my family.
Jeez, man.
Yeah. Which means, if you made it this far and you're thinking like, wow, Paul's anti-Semitic, I gotta pass.
That's right. That's right. Any jokes that you've made that slightly disparaged the Jewish peoples, you get off scot-free.
I mean, all I said was like Jews as a joking manner and like an earlier thing. Like, I think my fellow homosexual community are probably madder at me for saying faggot, even though like I'm bi and I'm trying to reclaim the word, and also the usage of the word is hilarious in my opinion.
Okay, back to the story here.
Yeah, go
I feel
ahead.
like we're losing Ruth here.
Yeah.
So anyway, she killed her husband, took his identity, and so she went on this plane to Japan.
What was the plane sponsored by? Can it be sponsored by Windex?
No.
Why not? You never let me have anything.
Windex does not have enough capital to own their own plane.
I'm not saying
okay?
own their own plane. I'm saying sponsored by. Just Windex on the side. It's like an advertisement, but for the sky.
No, all right, I'll allow it.
Thank you. The plane owned by Windex, going to Japan.
It's not owned.
Oh, sorry.
It's sponsored.
That was me doing it. Yeah, that was a slip of the tongue. I'm sorry. The plane sponsored by Windex.
Thank you. Yes.
Going to Japan. Are they gonna meet like halfway back from Japan? And the Windex plane is gonna do battle with the what's the second one sponsored by? Wendy's.
Old Spice.
Old Spice. All right. Old Spice and Windex back at it again with the aerial battles. Please tell me they actually have like guns in the plane that they just like Old Spice, Windex, and then they just like that.
That's right. And then the Old Spice plane says, "We have your Wii, and you can have it if you kill us first."
What does the Windex plane do?
The Windex plane says, "We will."
Plane says this.
Yes, the planes are actually speaking for them.
Ooh.
You know, they don't have actual speakers. They have planes with mouths.
Gross.
Yeah.
All right.
It captures a lot of bugs
What
in
is it?
mid-flight.
What are bugs doing in the upper troposphere?
Right? Global warming, am I right?
You're right. Go on.
So the Windex plane says, "We'll do whatever it takes to destroy you and get that Wii." And then Ruth does some karate on the plane pilots because she's like, I can do better.
As you do, yeah. So she locked a floozy in a building and set it on fire, and then committed what I believe is domestic terrorism by hijacking a plane because she felt like, you're not doing a good enough job.
Yeah.
Isn't that what she got mad at the floozy about?
I feel like Ruth has become the Karen she hates the most.
Yeah, she's the like the floppy summer hat just grows around her head. The pink dress just grows in. Meanwhile, it's like transacted from like the still burning, I'm assuming, despite this being 2 months, woman from the Heritage Center, where like not only is she burning, but like her hat like disappears. And her pink dress, like, disappears into, like, the ether, later to be, like, transported onto Ruth's body.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow, it's really...
It got ghost-busted, if you will.
Ooh, wow, she becomes the ghost.
Sure. So, yeah, the Windex Old Spice aerial battle of the century, featuring a recently Bakarened Ruth. And on the other plane, her husband clutching his Wii as if it's the poodle.
Oh, her husband's back. Yeah.
No, I thought he was on the other plane.
Well, he is now because we all thought that she killed her husband.
Did she? I missed that part. I'm not gonna lie.
But in fact,
how did I miss more of your story than theirs?
It's okay. We definitely did not write this part down. That's why it's like this.
Oh, got it.
We didn't write the other part down either. I don't know.
What the fuck are you?
What am I going on about, right? But yes.
If we were writing this down, it would take more time because we'd have to be like, how do you spell Bacarand?
We thought she killed her husband, but in fact, the same forces that took that pink dress and floppy hat off the original Karen and put it on to our protagonist Ruth has also transported our husband of Ruth.
Our husband of Ruth?
Carl
Clairstein.
Clairstein.
Yeah. The Romanian Jew Benihana chef from Connecticut.
Yes, that moved his soul into the Wii itself.
Oh my god!
The one thing he wanted
His
the
soul
most.
is shovelware. Barbie's Adventures and Hannah Montana the movie, the game.
So her husband clutching
His soul at this point.
his soul
God, those
decided
birds are fucking loud. Yeah.
decided to put all guns on his wife. All of the guns.
Oh no.
And in a last ditch effort to save herself, she said, "Oh, honey, don't you love me still?"
And he was like, yeah, you're right.
And then she hopped on the plane and
The other plane, she jumped a Windex. Oh, please tell me, as soon as she left, like, the pilot and co-pilot are still unconscious and it just starts falling from the air.
yeah, so the Windex plane actually crashed.
Oh no.
But
Any survivors?
yeah, all of them.
Oh my god. Any survivors? Yes, one. The original Karen. We don't know either.
Oh,
Yeah!
How did this happen?
Directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalan.
Shyamalan, yeah. That's how you pronounce it.
Is that really?
Shyamalan, yeah.
That was Shyamalan.
No, it's S-H... Hold on. M. Night... Shyamalan. S-H-Y-A-M-A-L-A-N.
I know how it's spelled. I just always thought it was Shyamalan.
Maybe I'm the pretentious one, you know what I'm saying? Hey, do you pronounce it culinary instead of culinary?
Ah, fuck no.
Me neither. That's it. That's all I got. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Luke for saying, you already know our social media handles, despite the fact that our Twitter and Instagram ones are literally fucking different. You can find us at facebook.com/afterschoolarcade. You can find us on Instagram at afterschoolarcade, one word. But you can find us on Twitter at afterschoolarc8, like the number 8, because we were one letter short from putting After School Arcade. God hates us.
We could have just done After School Arcade.
We could have. Where were you when that happened?
I don't know.
Boy, that makes so much sense. Why shouldn't we have done that?
Because most of the silent letters in English are bullshit.
That was poetic. Is there anything else that we want to say?
Yeah. Do we want to make this a continuous conversation? Do we want to give the sort of pass the buck over to the other guys, give them some food for thought?
Well, we're ending the podcast with this, so maybe it could continue in the June episode. But like, this is all we got for now, baby.
All right. Well, yeah.
Is there anything you ever wanted to say specifically to the lovely people that are listening to us right now?
Oof. I don't know who's listening. That's
Can
the
you
problem.
fuck off? There you go.
All right. Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, but you don't have to, really.
Just go look after your fucking kids.
Hey, look into your room. You really live like that?
That was me. That was me. You're
Yeah.
calling back to me.
Yeah,
I love you, Daryl. Bye. Fuck. I hit the wrong button.